First of all, welcome to the channel, and thank you for stopping by. When time permits, please consider subscribing. I would greatly appreciate it. As you may be able to tell from the rocks around me, I am no longer in the Northeast. I am just outside of Rapid City, South Dakota. No, I did not ride the bike here. Mount Rushmore National Memorial. I actually took my camper van with the bike on the back, and I'm presently camping for a couple of days in the Black Hills National Forest. I'm about 1 mile from the Mount Rushmore Monument. I had originally considered taking the 390 adventure out here, but as time wore on, I was really busy with work, and I simply wasn't going to be able to take off a week and a half from work to ride out here, ride for the planned 4 days with a couple of other guys I'm meeting, and then ride home. So what I compromised on was I put the 390 Adventure on the back of the ProMaster camper van, drove it nearly 1,900 miles. Wow, it's beautiful out here. And popped the bike off an hour ago, and now we're going to go for a ride. It is presently Thursday evening, and the group ride does not begin until Sunday. This is going to give me a lot of time to just wander around on my own, see what I want to see, and with any luck, the weather will hold, and I'll get to see quite a bit of this beautiful Black Hills, South Dakota. I did want to touch on for a minute what I thought of the drive out here and what it would be like on a motorcycle. Now, I've driven all over the Northeast, but that's all mountains and valleys and hills. Nothing wide open. The only really wide open area I've ridden down to is Florida. And while occasionally you do get winds in South Florida, you know, especially if you're on an elevated bridge around the airports or something. But on my drive out here, I saw multiple accidents caused by wind, which I never really, as a person from the Northeast, gave any consideration to at all. God, I hope you're catching this on the camera. I had always thought, you know, you go to the plains and the storms run through, and we did get hail, and we did get torrential rain, but those would have been fine on the bike. But what I really would not have enjoyed with a bike this lightweight was the wind. My van is always blowing around a little, but here it was just insane. And the wind was so much that I saw a bunch of guys just pulled over on their bikes, and we're talking like Harleys, big bikes, pulled over under underpasses, not because it's raining, hey, there we go, but because they simply did not want to be blown all over the road. I can't even imagine if a guy who knows how to ride an 800-pound bike pulls his bike over, what it would have been like on my 400-pound bike. But I don't think it would have been fun, and I simply very grateful I didn't do it. You know, when I started the drive, I was like, oh, I wish I could just ride the bike. I'm literally the only guy not riding his bike. But now that I'm here, it was quite an experience for, I would say, all of Ohio, most of Illinois. God, what was the next one? Can't even remember. It begins with an M. My geography teachers are going to kill me. And then when I got to South Dakota, it was absolutely the worst. I was in the Badlands of South Dakota this morning. I camped in a state park, and the van was just being pushed around while I was there. And all I could think is, well, I couldn't really be riding right now if I was on the bike. So my initial plan of needing 3.5 days to ride out here, if I had to stop for the 4 to 4.5 states of high wind, I wouldn't have gotten here for about 6 days. So if you are considering a really long trip across the flyover states of the United States, whew, man, I hope you're heavy, and I hope you've weighed that bike down. Because again, I'll end with, if a couple of dudes on 800-pound Harleys weren't going to ride in that wind, the 390 Adventure at approximately 400 with, you know, all the add-ons, it would not have been entertaining. So we are in South Dakota. We are in the Black Hills. We are going to ride out of the Black Hills and down into Rapid City. The bike has been sitting for 3 days while I rode out here, and I just want to get all the fluids warmed up again. Make sure it's ready for tomorrow to go for a nice trip. And I thought, why not run into town? So far, my opinion of South Dakota is don't hang out on the east side. Come down here. The Rapid City area, the Black Hills area, the Custer area. It's just gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. And it does appear to be an incredibly popular place for motorcyclists. I knew about Sturgis, but I mean, on my ride through South Dakota, I saw so many Harleys, so many adventure bikes. There must be some really good BMW and Harley dealerships around here because there's a lot of bikes. The folks in front of me have their helmets on, which seems to be somewhat unusual here. I'm assuming the locals are the ones that don't have their helmets, because there's quite a few of those folks too. Just like when I'm in New Hampshire, though, I do not partake of the no helmet rule. I like to keep my head shaped the way it is. I'm quite fond of it. Ah, there's the other thing I see in South Dakota. Many, many, many RVs, which makes sense. You're out west, there's the BLM land, there appears to be an RV park every 5 minutes. So if you have an RV, you will definitely like the area. I'm fortunate, I'm here on my camper van, which with the bike is about 23 feet long. And I was able to fit into a national forest, so I can avoid being packed into a sardine-like RV park. In the 3 years I've had the camper van, I have not actually been in an RV park, and I'm very grateful. Ooh, GS 1250. That's got to be a comfortable ride, and heavy enough for the winds out here. It's kind of funny. This is one moment you're in the middle of the forest and everything looks, you know, natural, and then you go around a corner and here we are in a touristy place. Ah, beautiful bikes. Very, very nice. I'm not sure where the side-by-sides are going, but on the way here, coming in from the east side of the state, there were quite a few trailers with them.